something happened in the gym that has never happened to me in 24 years. You know, I've always seen these videos of people getting into confrontations at the gym. That's never happened to me. However, there's always a first time for everything. Okay, so yesterday was 183.4. So the last couple days, definitely been in a stall here. The last couple days I have been in a complete stall. So this is day number 2, actually day number 3. I think I've stayed in that 183 range. So I'm gonna switch it up today. Today, I'm gonna do a full fast. It's probably gonna be like between 36 and 42 hours. By the time you see this video, it'll be Sunday, but today is Saturday. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fast all day today, and then I'm gonna break the fast tomorrow afternoon. We're gonna be having a birthday party here. So I'm not gonna do any shakes, no sugar, nothing, just a full 48, well, probably 36, 42 hour fast. And we'll see if we can get down to 182, possibly 181. Usually when I do these fast, I'll drop a good 2-3 pounds. So that's how things are gonna go today. So I made the decision, I am gonna do a full water fast. I think it's gonna be a good idea to do this every couple weeks because I've been doing this sugar diet and sugar fasting for like 14 days now. And I think it's a good idea just to detoxify your body from all that sugar. And there's a really good reason that I wanna do that. I'll get to that in a minute, but first, I'm gonna hop into the store. I gotta get some ingredients, some foods for my mother-in-law's birthday. I'm gonna be hosting a birthday, and she requested grilled chicken, a baked potato, which by the way, you can have on the sugar diet. It's a protein and a starch. Obviously you can't have the sour cream and butter, but I'm gonna go ahead and hop in the store and get those things, and we're gonna head home. And I really wanna talk to you about something that I've been seeing lately in the comments that has caused me to look into it a little further. So I'm gonna hop inside and we're gonna talk about it in just a sec. All right, we're back from the store. We got these organic chicken from Costco. This is gonna be excellent. And then we got these potatoes at Publix. These were like extra large. I mean, these are gonna be so amazing. I make a really good baked potato. Gonna have some watermelon. Gotta have the watermelon when we have a party. And then these were buy one, get one free. I'm gonna get my Frosted Flakes. I love these. So I went ahead and got that. So that's what we're gonna be doing. We'll probably have some more stuff. People are gonna be bringing over sides and all that. But I'm in charge of the meat and the potatoes. Man, it is a rainy day here in Florida. I'm actually not gonna go to the gym today. I usually work out on Saturdays and take Sundays off. But I think what's gonna actually be better is to work out on Sunday because I'm having a party tomorrow. This is when my body will be more primed to uptake those nutrients like the chicken and the potato, which is a starch. I think that's gonna actually work out in my favor. Plus Sundays, it's not as crowded in the gym. Anyway, I wanna talk to you about something that has caused me to actually look into further. I've had some comments of people kind of making fun of me for doing this whole sugar diet because of glycation. So what is glycation? I had no idea what it was. So I went ahead, I looked into it, and basically glycation causes this thing called AGEs, which stands for Advanced Glycation End Products. So basically, here's what it is. Just imagine when you take sugar and you caramelize it. You know, it's like kind of gooey. Well, that's what happens inside your body if you're taking in too much sugar, but there's a little bit of context to it, and I just want to address it in this video because context is everything. All right, you may hear people talk about this whole glycation thing and how it's dangerous. And look, it is a real thing. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. It does happen, but context matters. So what happens if you start to develop glycation? You may notice like inflammation, achy joints, aging skin. That's how you know you're dealing with some type of glycation. So here's what I'm going to do, and actually I've already been kind of doing it to minimize glycation. So when it comes to glycation, timing is going to matter when you take in your sugars. That is going to be huge. Also, it's what you combine with the sugars. That's just as important as well. So what I found, the best times to have sugar, and I'm also going to talk to you about the worst times to have sugar.
So as you've been watching all these videos that I've been doing, I've been timing my sugars around my workouts. I'll make a smoothie with berries, the fruit juice, and then I'll drink that, and then I might have some type of orange juice on the way to the gym. Now my body is primed to use those sugars for fuel rather than just floating around in my bloodstream. I know Cole Robinson has been talking to a lot of people who are really obese. These are people who are like, 300, 400, 500 pounds and they can't exercise. Yes, they're losing weight. However, when you're consuming all that sugar, it's just sitting there in your bloodstream, especially if you're not exercising and you're not active. So what I'm personally doing to avoid glycation is I'm using the sugars for fuel to go into the gym and do my workouts. The other time you want to have your sugars is post-workout. You could have a smoothie with maybe some type of lean protein, because you got to remember your body is more insulin sensitive to soak up all those nutrients post-workout. Now, with that said, the worst time you could consume sugar is at night, because at night you're less mobile, you're less active, unless you're someone who works out in the evening times, then you could get away with it, all right? But most people, they're sitting on the couch, they're watching TV, they're watching a movie, they're watching the news, or doing whatever, and that's probably the worst time to basically consume sugars, because you don't really need the energy at night. Now, the other thing you don't want to combine sugars with, which I know I've talked about on this channel, is fats. You do not want to combine carbohydrates with fats, sugars with fats. This is what you find in a lot of your processed foods like candy bars, donuts, ice creams, cookies, pastries, muffins, like all that stuff. That's what's going to cause glycation. It's combining the sugars with the oil. Just imagine when you're combining sugars and oil, it does cause this like gooiness inside of your body, and that can be very, very dangerous. This is why a lot of people have diseases like prediabetes, heart disease, cardiovascular disease, all those kind of diseases that basically the American population is plagued with. And what they do instead of changing their diet is they go to the doctor and get prescribed some type of pills. And that's another thing I see in the comments, is that people think I'm in bed with Big Pharma. I don't like Big Pharma. In fact, I'm totally against Big Pharma. I take no medications. I don't recommend other people take medications. I really believe that everything can be corrected through the diet. Get your food right, get your exercise right, and you will dramatically change your situation. You can come off a lot of these medications, all right? That's where I stand on that. So if anyone says I'm in bed with Big Pharma, totally false. I'm not on TRT. I know some people accuse me of DRT because of my traps and my delts. I mean, it's ridiculous. You get your diet right. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've been exercising for over 20 years. I'm going to be, actually I am 49. I'll be 50 next year. I've been doing this since I was 24. So anyway, I just want to calm your fears about glycation, all right? As long as you're consuming the sugars around some type of exercise, some type of activity. And look, you don't have to go to the gym. Maybe you like to go bike riding, walking, things like that. Just get some movement in, all right? So this way the sugar is just not floating around in your bloodstream. You want to use the sugar for fuel. And I notice my workouts are so much better. I don't need the caffeine anymore. I used to be a caffeine junkie. I had to have my Ghost drinks every morning. The sugar is doing just fine for me. I never even had caffeine withdrawals. Every time I tried to drop caffeine out of my daily routine, I'd get the headaches, lethargy, brain fog. I haven't experienced any of that. And it's because of the sugars. The sugars are actually giving me the energy to actually fuel my workouts and go about my day. So that's where I stand on glycation. So there's nothing to fear. Just time it around your workouts, avoid eating the sugars at night, and do not, whatever you do not combine the sugars with the fats. Okay? So that's a fact. Anyway, I hope that helps. So the rain stopped. I get out to have my walk that I always do. This place is pretty, it's pretty nice out here. It's pretty open. Back here is open. Going toward where my house is, it gets a little congested. But anyway, so the fast that I'm doing today, I decided that There was some watermelon in my fridge that my wife showed me that was gonna go bad. So we were just gonna throw it out. And I was like, well, let's not throw it out. I hate to just throw away food like that. I was like, you know what? I'll make that the only thing that I have today. So I basically just had a handful of chunks in about the size of my hand. And that's literally all I had. I had it at about 12 o'clock. Watermelon is so low in calories. It's pretty much just water that's flavored. That's pretty much all watermelon is. So that's gonna be the only thing that I'm gonna have today, which I know isn't gonna like hinder my progress at all. And the thing is, you gotta remember too, and I gotta remind myself, it's great when you see the scale drop a pound a day, but as you get leaner and leaner and leaner, it's not gonna drop a pound a day. You're gonna plateau. You may lose like an ounce, maybe 2 ounces like I did, and that's about it. Not stressed, that's just normal. You know, the weight loss is never gonna be this linear thing. It'll be like a staircase, no big deal. I'll definitely hit 182 tomorrow, maybe even 181, we'll see. So we're just gonna keep going throughout our day and just gonna be basically just drinking water. The other thing I might incorporate is some type of sugar-free, zero-calorie carbonated drink. Carbonation tends to help as well as it kind of fills you up. So sometimes I'll kind of include some type of flavored water that's carbonated, 0 sugar, 0 calories. So that'll actually help me get through the fast as well.
So I wanted to get just one more weigh-in tonight. It's about 10:30 p.m. on a Saturday night. By the time you watch this video, it's gonna be Sunday. So I started at 183.3 this morning. So let's jump on the scale and let's see what I weigh right now. Again, it is 10:30. All I had today was water, and I had that small handful of watermelon. So let's jump on the scale and let's actually see where I'm at. Looks like I hit 183. It's not even Sunday yet. Wait till tomorrow. Okay, so as you saw, I'm even 183. Now by tomorrow, it's very possible that I'll probably weigh in at 182. That's usually typically what happens when I do a whole fast. I'll lose 2 to 3 pounds. But I think this time around, it's probably only gonna be about a pound because I'm already lean. So I'll be really surprised if I get to an even 182. It might end up being like 182.5 or something like that. So we'll see. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit the hay and check it out tomorrow. We'll see what I actually will weigh in. Whoa, 181.1. I was 183 last night at 10 p.m. So I dropped 2 pounds just overnight. I had no idea I was gonna drop that much. I thought I would get to like 182.5, but 181.1 from 183 yesterday morning. Water fast for the win for sure. I mean, it's really hard to beat water fasting when you don't eat anything. And like I said, all I had was like a handful of watermelon chunks. So for the most part, I didn't eat anything. So when you compare water fasting with sugar fasting, it looks like water fasting for the win all day long. So what I'm gonna do is I will break the fast with some type of smoothie or juice, and then I'm gonna head to the gym. After that, we're gonna come home and we have a birthday party that we gotta get started. So I'll be eating some lean chicken and probably a baked potato, and that'll probably be pretty much it. And then we'll see how the rest of the day goes. On my way to get an early gym workout. And I gotta tell you, I just broke my fast with a tall glass of orange juice. Man, was that refreshing. In the past, whenever I did like water fasting, I would either break the fast with like chicken broth, or I would break it with something really, really light like eggs. But I've never actually broken a fast with actually sugar. So that orange juice was darn good refreshing. The other thing I had was I bought this blueberry preserves. So it's like a jam. And I had maybe a tablespoon of that, and man, that was really, really sweet. I could see how you cannot out-eat sugar when it comes to really sweet stuff like jams and preserves and stuff like that. So that was pretty amazing.
I should have a pretty good workout, and then the rest of the day, I got to go home and then, you know, prepare the chicken, the baked potato for the party. And then we'll see how the day progresses. I don't know what I'm going to eat later. I don't know if that's going to be my only meal. So we'll see. We are back from the gym. I had an amazing workout. However, so I'm going to explain to you what happened as I make my first smoothie of the day. I've got strawberries, pineapples, mangoes, papaya. I think that's it. So this is a lot of fruit. And then we're going to put some of this strawberry lemonade fruit juice that I got at Costco. And then we'll put a little bit of sugar in there. And don't worry, I'm not going to turn the blender on. I've seen the comments where people are like, turn the noise down on the blender. It freaked me out when I had my headphones in and the blender was going. So don't worry, I'm not going to do that this time. I do read those comments, by the way. All right, so let's get started. And let me just share with you what happened to me in the gym. So, like I said, you know, if you've watched any of my videos, I have been training in the gym since I was 25. I'm 49 years old. So I've been doing this a long time. I've been a part of a lot of gyms. All right. So I'm there for about an hour. Well, a little less than an hour, but I'm coming to the very end of my workout. Okay. And I decided to go over to this grassy area. I don't know if you've got like a gym where, so I go to a Crunch Fitness. So you've probably seen these gyms where they have like these grassy areas where people do sleds, they do their kettlebell stuff. And every once in a while, what you'll see in there is you'll see a trainer actually training people, kind of like a boot camp style type of thing. And what they'll do is they'll kind of rope it off so that the gym members can't go in there, because I guess these trainers, like, I don't know, they rent a space to do their class. And I don't even think she's employed by Crunch. So I've seen her in there before, and she usually starts her class at 8. So it wasn't roped off. So I thought, you know what? I only got 2 sets of push-ups to do. That's all I got to do. I don't want to be in anyone's way. So I went all the way in the corner, away from the grassy area, away from everyone, because people were starting to come in for the class. I looked at my watch. I was like, oh, it's 7:50, man. All I got to do is bang out 2 sets of push-ups. No big deal, right? So I go all the way in the corner, away from the grassy area where nobody can see me. So I do my first set. Everything's great. And then I'm resting. And then I start seeing her put signs. You know, I guess they're basically like stations where people are going to be doing these circuit type stuff. And she's kind of looking over at me and all that. And I kind of really recognized her. I remember her like 6 months ago when I was doing sleds in there. And she was setting up stuff. And she's like, hey, I'm about to start a class. And this, I'm like, yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. So I've kind of run into her before. But today was a different story. You will not believe what happened. So I do my first set of push-ups. I'm resting for about a minute. I go into my second set, which was the very last set, and I was going to be completely done with my workout. So, you know, by this time I'm amped up, the adrenaline's flowing, I'm feeling great, just got off my fast. I get to like rep number, I think I was doing like 25 reps. So I get to like 22, right? Doing push-ups. And the next thing I see is a hand waving in front of my face, banging on the floor to get my attention because I had headphones in, right? And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I get up and I said, what is wrong with you? She's like, I have a class and it's about to start and this and that. I said, you don't ever interrupt somebody in the middle of their set. So if you're new to the gym, I'm just going to give you a little tip. Don't interrupt anyone in the middle of their set. I laid into her. I know my response probably wasn't the most Christian thing to do. I try not to do that. But stuff like that really aggravates. I mean, I get aggravated when people are like doing their shrugs in front of the mirror, in front of the dumbbell rack, and it kind of blocks everyone from getting weights from the dumbbell rack. Don't do that. Just take a step back and then do your shrugs so people have access to the dumbbell rack. All right? So it got really bad. It got heated. You know, she's a woman. And I don't know if she's of some other nationality. I don't know if she's like Russian or Czechoslovakian or whatever. I said to her, I was like, you're a coach, right? I was like, you don't know gym etiquette? You don't know not to interrupt somebody in the middle of their set? You're waving your hand in front of me and banging on the ground. I was on my last 2 reps. You could have waited. I said, I picked up my phone. I'm like, what time is it? 8 o'clock? Perfect. That's when I was leaving anyway. So I just told her, I say, I don't want to ever see you ever do that ever again. And then she's talking over me and stuff. And then finally, she knows I'm pretty heated. And look, can you blame me? I'm amped up from an hour of workout. The adrenaline's pumping, this testosterone. She starts complimenting me. I think that was her way of trying to diffuse the situation. Oh, you look great. Wow, you look like I can really tell you train and work out. And I was like, and I just ignored all of that. I just said, hey, I'm going to go to management and I'm going to tell them that you need to learn proper gym etiquette. You just don't walk up to people putting your hand in front of your face right when you're doing push-ups. That kind of stuff I can't stand. Now, I'll let things go in the gym. They still get on my nerves where people don't re-rack their weights. I see that all the time. So for those of you, I'm just giving you some tips, okay? If you don't want to piss anyone off in the gym, wipe down your equipment. If you've got the strength to put the weight away or put the weight on the machine, you should have the strength to take the weight back off. Do not stand in front of the mirror hogging the whole dumbbell rack when you're doing your stupid little dumbbell shrugs and you don't allow access for other people that need to either put their weights away or they need to get some weights. Take a step back and then do your shrugs. It's that simple. It's not hard. Have some proper gym etiquette, all right? But anyway, you know, the next time I see her, what I will do, I'll tell you what I will do. I will apologize for my response. My response probably wasn't the best. I know that. I got really heated on normal circumstances. Maybe I wouldn't have because, you know, when you're amped up like that after an hour of working out, you know, you're probably going to get a little heated and do things that maybe you normally wouldn't do in a calmer situation. So that's kind of how this morning went. I mean, I just couldn't believe this woman actually did that, and she's a trainer. I'm like, she needs to go to etiquette school or something. I just couldn't believe that she interrupted my set like that. And the other thing is that was kind of embarrassing. I mean, at the time it wasn't, but looking back, I'm like, oh man, like it was so quiet in the gym. There was no music on. Everyone kind of turned and looked and was seeing our confrontation. So it got a little heated. But I did go to the front desk. I said, hey, who's your manager? You know, I want to report this person. I don't like to do stuff like that. But you know what? If she's done it to me, she's probably done it to a lot of other people. And it's just not right. You know, sometimes you just got to stick up for yourself. And then other times you let go of an offense. All right. I'm not saying to go in on people all the time. Sometimes it is a good idea to look over a fence. I usually do in the gym, even if people are standing in front of the mirror, people aren't putting their weights away. I kind of look over that offense. I'm just like, you know what? People just don't care. People don't care. You know, I'm the type of person that, how I was raised, consider other people. I'm always thinking of, do I want to inconvenience somebody else? And in my mind, I'm like, no, I don't want to inconvenience anyone else. I'm going to take care of myself. So that way I'm not bothering them or doing something that might irritate them. That's just the way I always grew up. You know, just have some common courtesy, for God's sakes, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and make this smoothie. I'm not gonna bore you with doing it. You've seen me do this many times. We actually have a birthday party. Let me see if I can swing the camera around here. But we're gonna be celebrating my mother-in-law's birthday. So we got a little banner over there. And we got some stuff all on the table here. I'm gonna be grilling chicken, the baked potatoes. I think the baked potatoes are gonna be awesome. I will tell you, when I was lifting, I felt like my muscles were starting to get flat. I could just tell. I feel like I'm losing a little bit, so I'm gonna refill on protein and starch and see if that kind of fills me out better. And that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because I gotta get it uploaded today, all right? So let's see, it is 9 o'clock. I usually try to get these uploaded by 10. Let's see if I can get that done. So if you really enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and always hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, I'll see you tomorrow.